So, as you know, the King and Queen Consort have concluded their visit to America, and the King has moved on to Bermuda, where he met a number of people. He was warmly received in Bermuda, and eagle-eyed observers noticed that he seemed to have, what's the word I'm looking for, perfected the art of not shaking black people by the hand. Now, whether that is a one-off or whether it's recurring remains to be seen, but I have asked that the person who made the observation, if they can do a compilation of several videos so we can have good evidence, that would be amazing, and I will do a video about it. And another thing, but the main thing I want to talk about in my video is the fact that the Queen Consort will not be joining the King for the rest of the visit. She has come back to the UK to carry out other duties and responsibilities, apparently. And then that sparked something in my head, and I thought, hang on, I remember there was a time they did another tour, and she kind of like left like halfway through as well. And then I did a bit of digging. You see, this is why it's good to have a long memory, because these people would do something, give one excuse then they'll do it again and give another excuse. But what am I talking about? So in February 2018, she did not accompany the King on his royal tour of Australia. The stated reason was that she didn't like flying, and the tour would have involved several internal flights between Vanuatu, Cairns, Gove and Darwin, and the aides described the 4-day itinerary as too grueling. And the flying explanation was offered publicly, and it was accepted largely without any scrutiny, because as you know, they always offer an explanation of sorts, and nobody bothers to scrutinize. Nobody bothers to scrutinize anything, but meanwhile, they are scrutinizing every nook and cranny of the Sussex's behavior. Even a glance. Yes, somebody did a whole ass podcast on an AI generated glance that Meghan gave somebody. Yeah, this is true. But anyway, this is the problem, though, that there is one complication with that explanation of the she hates flying, because Camilla did fly to Brisbane for the Commonwealth Games opening on the 4th of April. So the flying phobia that prevents internal flights within Australia didn't prevent the transatlantic and trans-Pacific journey to reach Australia in the first place, or even subsequent journeys to Brisbane for the Games. Some people have also noticed that this fear of flying doesn't extend to when she goes to India for her rejuvenations. Apparently she has a load of treatments for, to rejuvenate herself. I don't know. These are what people are saying. So, and I'm kind of thinking, interesting. This flying phobia that is intermittent. Yes. Remember the intermittent thing the other girl had? Seems like the Queen Consort may have something similar. Again, this is what people are saying. So now in May 2026, the King has traveled to Bermuda for 2 days of solo engagements, while the Queen Consort has returned to the UK, and she will conduct royal engagement at home, while the King is opening a new Coast Guard facility in Bermuda and carries out formal welcome ceremonies, including the 21-gun salute. Now, Bermuda, and this is where facts come in, Bermuda is a 2-hour flight from Washington. It is a short, direct and single-leg journey, and it would have been a flight that would have been made in the utmost comfort of a private jet. And there are no grueling internal flights, right, between Washington and Bermuda. So I would have thought it's the kind of journey that, many people would complete without any significant anxiety. Now, I want to be fair about something before I go ahead and finish this video. Now, A genuine flying phobia is real, and it is a documented anxiety condition, and it can be serious and very debilitating regardless of the distance involved. So I am not dismissing the possibility that Camilla experiences genuine discomfort with air travel. It's like me and my irrational fear of wasps. I hate wasps. I seriously did a lot of research, and then I finally found a spray that literally kills and deadens them on impact. So I understand phobia and anxiety and fears because I have so many myself, and I am riddled myself. But what I am observing here in this video is a pattern of when that discomfort applies and when it does not. Because long transatlantic flights to the US for high-profile diplomatic visits appear to be manageable, but very short hops to Commonwealth territories for less prominent engagements appear not to be. That is all I'm saying, right? That is all I'm saying. So the Bermuda visit is described as the King's inaugural trip as sovereign to a British overseas territory. It is a constitutionally and diplomatically meaningful visit. The governor and the premier were on the tarmac to receive the king, and the Royal Bermuda Regiment formed a guard of honor, and a 21-gun salute is scheduled. And I just want to say something else anyway. It might get me into trouble, it might not, but I know that it has been reported that the king himself doesn't like visiting the African countries that are under the Commonwealth. And I wonder why. And if you link that to the fact that he may have been alleged to be the one to ask about concerns about Archie's skin color, along with the other girl, they were named publicly by Piers Morgan. So I am quoting Piers Morgan here. So it just kind of makes you wonder, it makes you wonder. But like Piers Morgan himself said, he said the royal family have a dodgy track record when it comes to racism. And indeed they do. Because remember, they made themselves exempt from the Equalities Act. Yes. And we know up till a certain point in time, I believe in the 90s or even early 2000s, certain people of a certain hue were not hired as office workers, and that is a fact. So who knows? But anyway, the most important thing is that, she's not going. Camilla's back in the UK, carrying out engagements, and a lot of people said she conducted herself very well in Washington. Fashion choices were strong, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And the absence from Bermuda is noted, as was the absence from Australia. And the explanation probably remains the same. And the pattern is also the same. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, please. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the author of The Luxpreneur. And for more insights like these, please like, share, comment. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, please. And make sure you subscribe to Elizabeth Solaru 4970. That is the only channel I have on this platform. And to support my work in holding truth to power, like I just did, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Elizabeth Solaru, or you can get a copy of my book, The Luxpreneur, from Amazon, Waterstones, or Barnes & Noble.
All right, squaddies, gather round, adjust your imaginary crowns and pour something fizzy, because today we're diving into a royal storyline that's less and more. So here's the headline. Now, on the surface, that might sound like your average "we'll take separate Ubers, darling" situation. Totally normal, right? Except this isn't the first time. And when you zoom out just a little, what you start seeing isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern, and not a shy one either. This pattern has been quietly tapping us on the shoulder since 2018, politely asking, "Hey, are you noticing this?" Let's rewind for a second. Back in February 2018, opted out of a royal tour to Australia with the official reason: flying. More specifically, the internal flights between places like Vanuatu, Cairns, Gove and Darwin were described as too grueling. Fair enough. Flying anxiety is real. Long, multi-leg trips, exhausting. Everyone nodded, the press said, "Makes sense," and the story flew off into the sunset. But hold on, plot twist incoming. Just weeks later, in April 2018, Camilla hops on a plane to Brisbane for the Commonwealth Games. And not just a quick hop. We're talking a full-blown intercontinental journey. Atlantic, Pacific, the whole aviation greatest hits tour. Suddenly, the same skies that were previously too much are now perfectly manageable. That's not just ironic. It's like saying, "I can't jog down the street, but I'll run a marathon next week. No problem." Fast forward to May 2026. The sequel nobody asked for, but here we are. King Charles travels to Bermuda, his first visit there as sovereign. This is not a casual beach stop with a coconut drink and a straw. This is a constitutionally significant moment. Governor and Premier on the tarmac. Royal Bermuda Regiment lined up. Guard of Honour. 21-gun salute. The works. It's the kind of event that screams, "This matters." And yet, he arrives alone. Camilla? She heads back to the UK to carry out engagements at home. Again, taken in isolation, it's not scandalous. Royals split duties all the time. But when you stack this moment right next to 2018, the similarities start whispering, and then they start talking louder. Now, here's where it gets interesting, squaddies. Bermuda is not some remote, hard-to-reach outpost requiring 12 connections and a canoe. From Washington, it's about a 2-hour direct flight. 2 hours. That's shorter than some of your Netflix binges. No complicated itinerary. No exhausting chain of internal flights. By the logic we were given before, this should be the one. And yet, once again, we're presented with the same explanation orbiting quietly in the background. Discomfort with flying. Now let's be clear. Flying anxiety is real. It can be serious, unpredictable, and deeply personal. That's not the issue here. The issue is something subtler and, frankly, more intriguing. Because when we look at the full picture, the phobia seems to operate on a very specific map. High-profile trip to Washington, manageable, long haul, high-visibility diplomatic engagement, no problem. Short, direct flight to a British overseas territory for a constitutionally meaningful visit? Suddenly, not ideal. It's almost like this fear has a PR team. And here's the thing. Patterns don't need to shout to be noticed. They just need to repeat. And this one has. Same type of absence, same explanation. Different year, different destination, but eerily similar circumstances. That's what makes it worth talking about. Not as gossip, not as a takedown, but as an observation that deserves a little more curiosity than it's been given. Because when explanations stay the same, but the evidence around them shifts, it's fair to ask whether we're getting the full story. Not a scandal, not a conspiracy, just the whole picture. Now, to be fair where it's due, Camilla showed up strong in Washington
There's a certain amount of
recently.
scepticism about
Engaged,
it, but I have
polished,
been told
clearly
by
contributing in a
really
meaningful
impeccable
way.
source who does know
This
completely
isn't
what they're
about
talking
questioning
about,
her
some
overall
details
role or
about
effectiveness.
Charles's
It's
cancer
about
treatment.
consistency.
So in the run-up
Because
to
when
Christmas,
someone demonstrates
what the
they show
treatment
up for big
basically
moments,
was
it
consisting
naturally
of, I
raises
can
questions
exclusively
about the
reveal,
moments
and I
they
am
don't.
exclusively having all the
And
details
Bermuda,
on my Substack over
that
the
was a
next
moment.
week, was
So where does that leave us?
Extremely
Not with
innovative,
answers necessarily,
very, very
but with a
expensive
sharper lens.
series
A
of
reminder
weekly
that
immunotherapy
sometimes the most
injections.
interesting stories aren't
There's
in what's
an
said,
RNA element.
but in
Of course,
what
people are
quietly
familiar with
repeats
RNA
itself
from the
over
COVID vaccine,
time.
sort of almost on the border
Squaddies,
of,
that's
some
your
people would call
royal
it
tea
genetic
for today.
engineering.
Served
It's
with a
that
twist
novel,
of
and that's
curiosity,
innovative.
and just a sprinkle
I'm
of
told that chemotherapy was not part of the treatment, that there was some radio
That's interesting.
undertaken as well.
Catch you
And
in the next episode,
most importantly,
where we continue to ask
I
the
am told
questions
that we should take the
politely
king
knock
at his word when
and
he said
occasionally
in December
kick the door open.
that the treatment had worked. It has worked apparently exceptionally well.
Wow.
Show up. Do good. Preséntate y haz el bien. Esteja presente e faça o bem. Presentati e fai del bene. Sois présent et fais le bien. 텐션을 주스 교센조 하우시.一歩踏み出して成功としよう。